Usually I record these so that if somebody missed them. All right, so to find the videos for the class that you must watch, these are your lectures. You'll come into course content in this module. You'll click chapter 1. And in here is your video. All right. And I'm not going to play it because I think I get like too much feedback.
I've been looking at those.
Right. Yeah.
You talk real fast though.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
You have to pause, stop, and everything else.
No, don't worry. That's why I record it so you can go back and watch it. So in here, you have all of her videos, all right? And she walks through the PowerPoint. So these are your lectures. If you are let me sit back and watch someone talk to me, this is where you go, all right? And so in here, and she'll explain every single concept. And on top of that, in the PPF chapter, which is coming up, well, actually, no, we've already done the PPF chapter, all right? She walks through exact way on how to solve a comparative advantage problem. Here, she did an exact problem similar to your homework problems, right? So make sure you are watching these videos. Now, we're talking about graphing being next. So in chapter 3 here, she walks through the difference between a change in demand versus a change in quantity demanded, right? She talks about why when quantity supplied equals quantity demanded, this is considered an efficient market. And so when we are at equilibrium, it means there's no pressure on either the buyer or the seller to change the price, right? So I know you can all recognize equilibrium, you know, where the two lines intersect, but the reason it's called equilibrium is because there's no shortage and no surplus. There's no dead weight loss at equilibrium. So definitely watch these videos, read the chapters, and then hopefully, you know, come in here and tell me like, hey, Renee, I don't get X, Y, and Z, and we can go over them. Normally, I don't lecture in these meetings because we have the videos here, and I'm not going to sit here and play them for you. But I definitely want to answer questions for you and do practice problems. So I heard math and graphing. If you come over here, let's go back to our table. A schedule here, the price is always going to be, if you remember I told y'all to get your piece of paper out, right? So you've got draw a supply and demand market, which is just that straight line, you know, like an L. Over on the vertical line there, write P, right? And I can go ahead and show you. Let me go back to here. I'm going to be toggling between the two, right? But here, this is a new model, a new economic model, right? You want to put, this axis is always going to represent price. This one is always going to represent quantity. And those points that we saw, that's nothing more than when you were in school, X, Y. Remember, you go X, 10, go over 10 and go up 20, go over 10, go up 30. Those are those points here. So this Q right here, the Q's are the X's, the P's are the Y's, right? And you know that because, hold on, let me see, resume share. All right, the Q's are on this axis and the P's are on that axis. So when I have a price of, let me toggle again. I wish I could copy this and carry it over there. And I might be able to. Hold on.
Oh, I love that tool.
I know, I'm addicted to it.
It's like the best tool in the world. I don't know who came up with it, but they're genius.
I use it every day, all day. All right, let me slide this over. And so can you see both screens now?
No.
No. All right, let's see. New share.
You can't paste it on there?
No, it's not going to stick.
Oh.
That's okay. And I can't get to the whiteboard. So what I'll do, let's see, can I draw in here? I might be able to draw in here.
You can draw on there.
This is going to look really bad. Perfect. All right, I'm going to have to use my finger. This is always going to be price. This is always going to be quantity on this axis. So when it says $10 and then you see 80, it means at a price of $10. And so you'll just, this is 10. You're going to come over here to where 80 is. This is bad, right? And you're going to make an 80. All right, so go ahead and on your graph, go ahead and draw out the demand curve. So at a price of 10, you're going to go over and you're going to hit 80. 11, you're going to go 75. 12, 70. 13, 65. 14, 60. 15, 55. I should have picked better numbers, but just generally make an idea here, okay? So at 10, I'm going to go way, way out to 80. Now, when the price goes up, am I going to buy more or less?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the law of demand. As the price goes up, how many, and quantity just means how many, right? And so quantity demanded is how many do you want to buy at a price of 10? How many do you want to buy at a price at 11? How many do you want to buy at a price at 12? When the determinants of demand, those non-price determinants, wealth, income, taste and preferences, price of other goods, assume all those things are the same. Because truthfully, how many I want to buy when the price is 15 will change when my income goes up. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And so if it's going to change, then I'll have a whole new list here of quantity demanded. So you want to hold those things constant. And so all a supply or demand curve is, it's the relationship between price of a good and how many you want to buy when you have the same income, wealth, preferences, etc. All right? So my demand curve is always going to slope. It begins with a D, is always going to slope down. If I had taken the time and I would have found that a price is 16, I'm only going to demand 50. So if this were 16 up here, and again, sorry, this looks so bad. All right, this would be 50 down here. The good news is if you go in there, those videos have perfect ones. All right, now let's look at quantity supplied. Quantity supplied are basically, and you don't really think of yourself like this too often, but a supply curve is based off of how suppliers, how many they're going to bring to the market depending on the price of a good. So if I'm a supplier for a good, if it doesn't sell for very much, am I going to put a lot of time and effort into it?
Nope.
No. And I'm going to be producing something else. Why would I produce corn for 2 cents when I know that soybeans are going for 50 bucks? So I would move into the soybean category. So when the price gets higher, suppliers want to produce more or less?
More.
More. Let me ask you this. What if the market price here had been $1 million? What would you think supply would have been? Quantity supplied would have been?
A really big number.
Exactly. Because the question isn't how many do you think people are going to buy at $1 million? It's if you can, how many are you willing to supply at this price? Even if the price is unrealistic. All right. So therefore, supply, as the price goes up, supply is always going to increase. All right. And where the supply curve and the demand curve intersect, that is called equilibrium. And at equilibrium, quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. And so on a graph, you can either look at this point here, right? And this point being, it would be a price at a price of $14. And what would my quantity demanded or supply be? What is equilibrium here?
60.
Yeah, and you know that because when you look at the table, much easier to look at with a table, right?
Yeah.
You'll see it clear as day. Now let me ask you this. What if I decided I wanted to sell this good for $15? Will I still be in equilibrium?
No.
No, because at a price of 15, the quantity demanded, and this is the demand curve, that number is now going to be 55. All right? That's a 55 there. So make sure you write on your notes 55 and circle it. All right? At a price of 15, quantity demanded. Oh, let me get a pen. Can I use the pen? Yes, thank you.
Pen's better.
Thank you. I didn't even see that. All right. Quantity demanded is going to be equal to 55.
Hey, what is that?
Which one?
So quantity demanded, is that the sign or?
No, that was just the pen. All
Oh,
right, there we go. Quantity. That's supposed to be a Q with a little D next to it.
oh, okay.
But of course, I'm laying here like I don't have my tablet with me.
Oh.
But now that I know I can do it in sniping tool, I'll have my tablet next time and it'll look a lot better. All right, so at a price of 15, quantity demanded is 55. All right, write a Q here. Quantity supplied.
It got better.
Slightly. What is my quantity supplied here?
70.
70. Okay, so I'm the supplier, right? I'm coming to the table with 70 of them. How many people want to buy them?
55 people?
Yeah, 55 people. So how many, am I going to sell all 70?
No.
No.
No, matter of fact, what's going to happen is I'm going to end up with a surplus or a shortage.
Oh, I was right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so any price above the equilibrium price is going to cause a surplus. So make sure in this area you've written a big old surplus. All right, write the word surplus. And if we go back to a price of $10, I'm going to have what we call a shortage. Exactly. So when we talk about equilibrium, it's really quick to recognize it. Oh, yeah, that's equilibrium. But what it's saying is at equilibrium, quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. Any price above equilibrium, 15, 16, 17, 18, $1 million, the market is going to have a surplus. And then I'm going to write the word surplus, but pretend like I wrote surplus out here. Any price under $14, the market is going to be in what we call a shortage. And you should be able to recognize that because it's kind of cool. Above is a surplus, makes sense, and below is a shortage. So make sure you have graphed a few of these. Now let's say my income, not my income, let's say what would happen here if one of the non-price determinants changed? Let's say my wealth were to change, right? So this was my demand, how many I demanded when my wealth was $10 last year. Let's say my wealth, the value of whatever I had, my Beanie Babies at $10, are now worth $1 million, right? If they're worth $1 million, this quantity demanded here, that 80 goes to an 800. That's 7, and I'm just making this up, right? But what I'm trying to say is when those non-price determinants change, then how many I'm willing to buy, and that makes sense. As you make more money, you might buy more socks. You might buy more shoes. You might buy more pens, all right? Let's say this is the market for pens. And so when a non-price determinant changes, this quantity demanded changes, meaning that I want to buy more. Now that I won the lottery, at a price of $10, I'm buying 800. And so what that means, if all these numbers have changed, this first line, this line right here, it's no longer valid. And so my new quantity demanded is going to be something way out here. That would be meaning my new demand curve, right? The demand curve is actually going to shift. And now that point that used to be 10 and 80 is now going to be 10 and 800. This point down here would be 800. So that's what it means when it talks about a change in demand or a change in supply. It means that the relationship between price and quantity is no longer the same. And your curves are going to either go out or they're going to decrease. Make sure you know the difference, though, between that and a change in demand. Change in demand happens because of the price determinants moving. A change in quantity demanded just means that the price went from $14 to $15. When there is a change in price, that is a change in quantity demanded. Put that on a flashcard and memorize it. When there is a change in price, it is a change in quantity demanded, which means there's just movement along the curve. All right, back and forth. That's all it is. Change in quantity demanded is a change in price. A change in demand, which is the shorter term of the two, means the curve's actually going to shift. All right. Anybody have any questions about any specific homework problems they wanted to see?
Renee, this is Andrea. I had a question. Is there going to be any reference or question regarding an increase in income if it always shifts demand curves for goods to the right, whether it's an inferior good or a neutral good?
Okay, so back here on the one that we just drew, when I said my income went up, I shifted the curve to the right, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is that a normal good or an inferior good?
Normal good.
Yeah, because what a normal good says is as my income goes up, my demand shifts to the right. Now let's say, how about this, guys? Let's say, can I clear this off?
Erase. Eraser. No.
You can't do it all in one. I have to manually erase it.
Yeah, or you can hit
Just
new,
start over?
but it's gonna delete everything else.
Oh, that's fine. All right, now let me just hit no.
So you're gonna have to recopy that picture.
Let me think what I want to copy. New. Actually, let me go over here. Better yet, let me go into the practice question. There's a question like that.
The problem that I have is knowing which line is which. Like which line is the command line and which line is the supply,
Supply?
or whatever.
Yeah, D slopes down. Does that help?
The demand line slopes down.
Yeah, they both begin with D. And you have to know the law of demand. The law of demand says
Like how you
as
put
the price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. There's a negative relationship between, let me grab this.
So Tiffany, the demand, when you're going left to right, it's always going to be going down.
Well, hold on, don't say left or right though. Because
Left to right.
here, this is price, this is quantity on this axis. When the two are inversely related, meaning they are going in the opposite directions. As the price goes up, what happens to the quantity here? Is that number going up or down? When I move from $1, all
Going up.
Isn't it going down?
right, when the price goes up from 1 to
Yeah.
10, all right, at a price of 10, how many do I want to buy? What's
Very
this number right here? Yeah, let's say 5, right? When the price is $1, how many do I want to buy?
10
All
or
right.
more.
Yeah, 10 or more.
One more. Yeah.
All right. So here, the law of demand says, as the price of a good goes up, quantity demanded goes down. So the price goes up. What happens to this? I go from 10 to 5. The law of demand tells you that there's an inverse relationship or a negative relationship between price and quantity.
But that's
Unlike
where I
supply
get
curve,
confused.
you got to memorize it. D,
That's where I get confused because the line looks like it's going down instead of going up.
this curve looks like it's going down. Hold on. This curve to you looks like it's going down.
The price.
It look like it's going up. You got to remember with
Okay, so it's going up this
Mhm.
way. It's going
Right?
like an airplane. It's going that way.
Yes, when you read a graph,
Okay.
yeah, when you read a graph, that way's going, this way's going, this is going up.
right
And
to
yeah,
left.
and
is,
Tiffany, probably the best thing to do, put numbers on the graph and read the graph and say to yourself, at point A, price is $1, quantity supplied is 5.
Mm-hmm.
At point B, price is 10, quantity supplied is 9. So
Well, I get all
therefore,
that, but when it's just have the lines on the graph and it's not telling me anything, that's
The
where
way
it is,
I-
but it is, it is telling you. If you
the
look
way
at a
that I
graph
remember
and you
is
read the
by
middle, go ahead.
Wait, the way I remember it is from left to right. If it's going from left to right, that means it's going down. If it's right to left, it's going up. Like
Hey guys, how about we learn how to read a graph?
hello.
All right. Like learn how to read a graph. The number says 1 here, it says 10 here. The number says 5 and 9. Put points on there. Like I don't want y'all remembering left to right and D for down. Because when you get on an exam, you're like, was it D for down or D for up?
Exactly.
Read the numbers. Put 2 points on a graph. What happens to price when quantity goes down? What happens to quantity when price goes down? And it'll tell you. And eventually, and I promise you, if you remember how we pulled up, all I did was pull that thing up when I Googled supply and demand tables. Like there's thousands of them in here. Graph something 3 or 4 times, and I promise you, you will never forget, demand slopes down. And the law of demand says as the price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. Because the reason I'm telling you I don't want you to memorize it is because sometimes when you are moving the demand curve or the supply curve, you're going to think something looks like it's going up when it's really going down. For example, let's say I did,
And that's where I always second guess myself because I'm like, is it going up or down?
Yep.
Like that's so confusing.
yeah, no, I think once you get to reading, you start practicing, getting comfortable with the graphs, you'll see it immediately. Like, oh, okay, that's definitely a demand curve and a supply curve. But the reason I tell you I don't want you to memorize the left to right is because with the supply curve, all right, here's the supply curve. The supply curve can move for any of the determinants of supply. All right, the non-price determinants, what are they? What are the non-price determinants?
Is it wealth and
Nope, those are yeah, you're in the right ballpark, but those are for demand. What's going to shift the supply curve?
Goods.
The good.
Quantity or?
Goods.
All right. In the book, anybody read the book? Or saw the videos? What are the determinants of supply? What shifts the supply curve?
I have a bunch of notes here.
Uh-huh. And I think that she even wrote them out. If you go back into here, under course content, I think they're written out in the macro. Let me make sure. Checklist. In here, she talks about change in supply and demand using use income, define law of diminishing, using the demand supply graphs in your textbook, identify the variables of two axes, using table of supply, explain the distinction, explain in words graph, define the law, explain in words, find refuge, identify surplus, which term means success, calculate surplus. Does she not have them listed?
Rationing devices.
Price is how we ration things out. Right. Instead of brute force, we don't have people just going and taking stuff. We could do a lottery. In the United States, we just happen to do. All right. Trying to see where if they're listed anywhere. I want to use this.
Opportunity cost?
Nope. In chapter 3, there's a list of what actually shifts the supply curve. If anybody has their book, is it chapter 3? Go to chapter 3 and look up the determinants of supply. So we talked about the determinants of demand.
You said it's in chapter 3.
It's in the supply chapter. That's chapter 3. Supply and demand.
Quantity demanded.
So there's a supply chapter. It talks about what moves the supply curve. We already talked about what moves the demand curve, which was my wealth, my income, my preferences, taste and preferences, the number of buyers, my expectations. What moves the supply curve?
The normal goods.
The change in price.
Technology.
Technology. There we go. What page are? All right. What page are you on?
I actually just Googled it.
Okay.
Not gonna lie.
No. That's actually, I think Google's great.
That's what I just did.
Mm-hmm. So technology will shift the supply curve. And that makes sense because if this was my supply, all right, let me show you this. If this was my supply before, right, at a price of $10, I supplied 20. Let's say we're talking about ice cream cones. And now I have an ice cream. Let's say I have, I'm using a scooper and it's cold. And now I have a scooper that's warmed up. Am I going to supply more or less?
More.
Yeah. And so that number 20 becomes 50. Right? So technology will shift the supply curve. What else will shift the supply curve?
Okay, so I have a question.
Uh-huh.
You know how you just said it will change to 50? Like, okay, I remember there was a question on, I think it was the homework or something, and it said, what would happen if a machine was introduced?
Yes.
And it said for us to come up with the, what is it called? That line. I forgot what it's called.
The supply line, quantity supply?
Yeah, for the machine, if the machine was introduced.
Okay.
So I know it's supposed to increase because of the machine. It makes it easier for you to be able to produce more.
Right.
But how do you actually plot that so it can be accurate?
It's not accurate. I'm just making these numbers out my ass.
Okay.
I'm just making up numbers.
Okay. Because that's
no. We're not that detailed in this class, right? Because we're just trying to get the idea. Supply curve goes up, demand goes down. When there's technology introduced, the supply curve is going to shift to the right.
Yeah.
There's going to be an increase in supply. And the reason I was telling you, I don't want you to memorize that other thing is because you'll get kind of confused. And so an increase in supply is going to actually look like this. And some people say, well, that looks like the supply curve went down. But this is really an increase in supply. Moving from this way to that way is an increase. And when supply decreases, it's going to look like this. This is a decrease in supply. And some people say, well, it looks like supply went up. Well, if you know how to read a graph, and so,
yeah.
And that's where I get confused.
Mhm.
Okay, now that makes sense.
All right, and so here, so what I want you to do is I want you to be able to take on a graph and go, okay, let's come up with a point here. Let's call this $10, a price, all right? At a price of $10, and then come across all of them, right? And let's read this graph. And so on our first supply curve, at a price of $10, they were supplying 20. And then I said I got better technology. When I got better technology, we said you should be producing more or less.
More.
And makes sense. This is our new technology line. This number here is going to be 50. But let's say the machine broke, and now you're going to be producing less.
Go back to your normal amount.
Well, the machine's completely broken. So I'm going to be on a new supply curve, and I'm only going to produce 10. So the point here I'm trying to make is, I don't want you remembering if things go from left to right, right to left. Read the numbers. And so supply increases, it goes to the right. Supply decreases, it goes to the left. Or like I like to say, and this works for both demand and supply, left is less. If the curve ever shifts to the left, it's less. I hate to tell you that because I don't want to teach you I don't mind teaching people how to cheat on things if they understand the basics. Right? But y'all aren't there yet. So I want you to be practicing with the graphs. All right. So make sure you know how to, and the only way you're going to learn how to do this, guys, is to do it over and over again. Just like you learned how to ride a bike, right? You eventually learn how to do this. You can do anything, honestly. You just have to keep doing it over and over again. And this is one of those things. So just keep practicing over and over again with these and it'll make sense. All right. Anybody else have any questions about supply and demand? Because we're running over now. And I've got another class at 10. Oh, what time is it?
So Renee, I just wanted to confirm the announcement that came out. So our class was from 9 to 9:30. So was that not the right message?
9 to 9:30. No, y'all were 9:30 to 10.
Yeah, we got 9 to 9:30.
Oh, we got 9 to 9:30.
9 to 9:30. All right, y'all are 9:30 to 10. Actually, 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10. No, y'all are 9:30 to 10. So 9 to 9:30. All right, let me go back and look. Because then that means, because I had one class before here. I have y'all, and I got another one at 10. All right, so I'm actually holding y'all way over. Y'all been on since 9.
Yeah.
All right.
Which we fine with, because
No, y'all, and what I'll do is I'll actually even set up and have y'all come in if you want. We can make this time space like an hour and a half, and we could have y'all work on a problem together before we start, and then I could do it ahead of time, and this way I wouldn't be drawing it, and you could actually see it ahead of time, or not ahead of time, but when I come in. Did anybody have any homework problems they wanted to see worked out?
Chapter 3.
All right, what number?
Can you go to it? Because I know
my
my
back.
sorry.
No problem. And I'd rather us work them out in here than you work them out on your own and miss them. All right, so if I go into chapter 3, supply and demand theory. Oh, and also, guys, I like to show this to you. Press this button up here. Can you see my screen? All right, flip it like this so you can see the dates. Also, this thing down here, adaptive test prep, make sure you're using this thing. This thing is great. It lets you create your own practice test. And what's the best part about it, when you miss a question on it, it's going to walk you through a video, and the videos are usually a minute or two long. It's like having a teacher with you. All right, so this A+ down here is called adaptive test prep. All right, on homework 3, supply and demand.
Why does stuff look different?
The screen.
I was on number, I think like 15.
On supply and demand?
No, when you go, well, yeah, I think that is.
I only go to 13.
No, that's not it then.
All right.
I don't know why yours look different.
Was it in here or was it the practice quizzes?
It was in the practice quiz.
Okay, so let's go to the practice quizzes. All right, so here, practice quiz number 3. Now, it'll be weird. You know, this is going to be harder because the practice quizzes, I don't know if we all have the same ones.
I don't know why yours look weird. Because it wasn't on here. It was on that
Publisher site. Have you already done it?
yeah, it was on the publisher site. I haven't done that yet.
Well,
So I think there's practice homework, and then there's the actual homework
It was
in
the practice
Apple.
homework. And I've learned that the practice homework and the actual homework is very similar.
yeah. Do me a
So-
favor. Take a screenshot of the number 15 when you see it.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't this one here. Assume the equilibrium price
No,
were good as
it
15
was actually in the program.
in the program. Yeah. Just take a screenshot of it and send it to me.
Okay.
Because if it's a practice, let's see. Let me go back
Because it
out.
was in Apula.
It's under Apple, yeah.
Yeah.
Leave, stay, leave.
Ooh, my neck hurt.
And so each chapter has the Aplia homework, and then the practice questions are the ones, or direct from home. It's called direct from homework. Could that be it? There's something called direct from homework. And here,
I'm gonna say, I think you already have it up.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Go to the practice math graph homework.
Okay. Oh, math and graphing in here.
Yeah.
All right. This
Yeah.
number 15. Is that right?
no, the practice. The
It was
practice.
under the practice.
Okay. The practice math and graphing is exactly like the graded math and graphing. They are identical to each other.
Oh, okay.
Right. So what's good about this when you're working on the problems, and you know what I'm going to even show you? I wonder if this is even out there. All right. So with 15, which discount is better? Is that what we're looking for?
Let me look at it. I have to see it.
Oh, that one.
Scroll down.
Mm-hmm. A music
Yeah.
box. All right. So I'm trying to figure out here. The following questions highlight how changes of numbers can be measured. We're looking for percentage, I'm sure. The first, Annie's Attic, is offering $10 off any purchase. The other is offering 25% off. All right. So we're going on sale, right? This one, if it's $10 off, that's a flat 30 minus 10. Here it's going to be 50 minus 10. What I love about Shopin, though, in order to find out what 25% off, if something's 25% off, you're only paying, well, this is just shopping, right? I taught my kid this. If I'm in a store and it says 25% off, it means I'm paying for 75% of it. So I don't even bother with the 25%. I just go, oh, look, it's $100. It's only going to cost me $75. All right. That's just a hint. So my little kid who's 12, like she immediately recognizes like 30% off, 33% off. All right. So here to get $30 and 25% off, it's now asking me, it just wants to know what the discount is or what the actual price is going to be. Is it asking me to put in here?
Okay.
No.
Is it just asking what 25% off is, or is it asking what the price is?
That's no.
What the price? So the new price is going to be, hold on, let me go here. Where'd it go?
$22.50.
Hold on. All right. So here is asking me, is it two stories? First, each store offers a music box and music. Determine the promotional, so the price. So it's actually, it's not asking you what 25% of 30 is. It's asking you what's 0.75 of 30. Does that make sense? So 30 times 0.75 is going to be 22.5. Yeah. If you put in there just 25%, 0.25 times 30, if you put in $7.50, that is 25% off of 30, but it's asking you what's the price. It should say price. It should say, it's not the, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So same thing here. If something's $50, I'm paying 75% of it. So you're going to take 50 times 0.75, right?
$37.50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
Instead of the reverse, you were probably doing it where you're putting $12.50 in, because I would have done that because it says 25% off and 25%.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Go back and make sure you do that on the other one, guys. Remember on this one, get as high of a score as possible, and the reason being is because hold on. All right, you want to get a score as high as possible, and the reason being is because hold on. I need all of you, if you don't mind, to. Can everybody send me back a text with your first name, your last name, and your CRN. That's how you get credit. So, and those texts, not even those texts, but those in the chat area. Everybody see the chat over to the far right?
No.
All right, hold on. Let me show you chat.
It's on the bottom for us.
All right, on your bottom in here.
Okay, yes.
Yep.
On the bottom.
Send me your first name, your last name, and your CRN. That's how we do roll in that chat area. And then I just copy and paste.
What's my CN?
So to get your CRN number when you are in Blackboard, Your CRN number is going to be over here. It's that 20595 number or 20596, right? So inside of Blackboard, it's this 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 digit. It is not the 201720 number. All of you have that. That's 2017 spring. So it's the 20595. So I need first name, last name, and CRN. And then let's see, and we were talking about due dates. Make sure, all right, let's see. Go down. I was trying to tell you who has something due tonight, because I believe there's a couple people have stuff due tonight.
In my Blackboard, I can't see when my exams are due. Like, it doesn't show me a due date.
All right,
No,
so
no.
exam information is located on the syllabus, the dates for all the exams, and it's not in Blackboard. All right, so in here, or you could go to course information.
I'm sorry, my quizzes. I don't know why I said exams.
All right, so you want to know what day the quizzes are due?
Mhm.
Yes.
What quizzes?
The practice quizzes.
Mhm.
Okay,
The three.
the practice and review quizzes?
Yes.
All right, these count in your participation grades, and they all have like random dates.
I believe you can go to the calendar and view it there.
Because I went and it's not showing me, or like when it shows you on the what's due, it's nothing's coming up.
Then nothing's due. It's that simple. I was gonna say that one was due on the 23rd. This one is due on. This one has no due date, right? Because these are just practice
That's
quizzes.
probably what it is.
They're practice quizzes, so
Okay.
they're not even included in your grade. So you can take them and you can't take them. Does that make sense?
I get it. Okay, I get it.
And they're going to be a small percentage of your grade. We got to figure that out. All right. Did anybody else have any questions or problems they wanted to see worked out? All right. Again, guys, I can't stress to you enough. Make sure you're going through course content and watching the videos in here. All right. And watch the videos, and then so you will read the book, watch the lectures, then you will do the regular APLIA homework. And then the practice quizzes, the idea is to have you do them. They're going to be counting in your participation grade, but haven't really decided how much or how we want to do them, because you've got so many assignments due right now that are the reason the practice quizzes are not having the dates on them. You've got these assignments. You have to get a 70 or higher on every single one of these to stay in the class. So rather than setting you and having you run after practice quizzes that don't count, focus on homework 1, 2, 3, 4, and the APLIA Mind Tap. Now the Mind Tap, the math and graphing, that counts as a 10% of your grade. It's weighted just like an exam. So if you ever wanted any extra credit, this is your extra credit. And the reason it's your extra credit, if you notice, the math and graphing, the reason I'm calling this your extra credit, you get 3 attempts on every single problem. And you have in that homework, you have the assignment verbatim above it. There is no reason right here, right? This one is due. This is like an exam grade, right? This one right here above it is exactly the same. So if you hit number 15 here and you don't know how to do it, figure it out right here. If you're not going to figure it out in the 3. There is no reason not to make an 85 or above on this. If you don't, it's just a matter of your time. And then truthfully, it's just it's a exercise of time management. It's going to take you about an hour because there's a lot of questions. There's like 58 questions. Just to kind of, get you thinking like this again. All right. Anybody else? Any questions or any concerns
Thank you
or
for
comments?
that, helpful
No problem.
information, because yeah.
No. And I think probably the next one will be better, because in the next one you will have watched the videos and you'll say, hey, number 6 on this, I don't understand. Number 4 on that, can you work that one out? Or give me more examples like, this. Myrna, is it Myrna? Did you have a question?
Yes, the Zoom session you all had on Monday, the email said you all were going to post it, but I'm not sure where I can find that.
The recording?
Yeah.
I don't think she recorded it.
Oh, okay.
I was in it and I couldn't record it. I know that. And Dr. K was running it. So normally these go out when it is recorded. They go back out in announcements.
Okay.
And all it was this, and it probably wasn't even. And honestly, it was less practice problems like how we did today. It was okay. You have this assignment here. This is how you find something in Blackboard. I'm trying to remember if we didn't work out any problems. But normally, those two run exactly the same. So you have an opportunity to watch it on Monday, an opportunity to watch it on Saturday, or watch the videos.
Got it.
And usually there may be about 15 to 20 minutes because, again, I don't lecture in them, only because you have your lectures. It's more practice problems. And like I said, so next week what we'll do, if I'll have it do it the same way. Let's do the same time next week. And I'll have it start at 9. I'm not going to come in till 9:30. And that way, what I'll do is I'll try to find some practice problems for you to do ahead of time or as a group, or maybe we'll pair and share where you break into a group and work on a problem. And then I'll come in and hopefully by then I will have done the problem and we can look at it. But yeah, this is really for y'all to just send me problems you want to see worked out. All right. Anybody, any other questions? All right. And then, so I need to send out maybe some videos or practice problems on graphing. Anything else y'all are looking for extra help on?
Mainly just the graphs, really.
All right. So the graphing,
So far.
the supply and demand graphs, right?
Yeah. And also the chapter 3 graphs that they be having with the triangles.
Oh, how to get consumer surplus and producer surplus?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I got some videos on those, and so I'll send those out. But again, watch Dr. K's videos because I think she kind of walks through how to do some problems, and that might help. And then in the book, did y'all see that the book also has videos, which is kind of cool? So
Yeah.
Inside the book here, they've got it called Office Out Video Questions and stuff. You can go through here, and he literally walks through practice problems. Don't necessarily love his voice, but it works, right? And these are our current country is currently experiencing high unemployment rate, dramatically represents the country. So he walks through this video here is how many seconds? All right. That's 1 minute. All right. Don't watch anything that you already know. All right. I want you guys to be efficient. I want you to be on your PPF curves. If you completely understand PPF, then move on to chapter 3. So as far as the readings go, skim chapter 1, know those concepts, normative, positive, macro, micro, cerebus, paribus, know the definition terms and how to use them in a sentence. Know marginal. When I am trying to determine if I'm going to do something, I don't look at my total benefit, my total cost. Make sure you write this down. You're going to look at your marginal benefit versus your marginal cost. People are rational. So if I'm trying to decide how much time I'm going to spend on homework, I'm not going to say, what's my total cost of doing homework versus my total benefit? No. People are rational. They're going to look at my marginal benefit versus marginal cost. All right? Know those. Normative statement is a statement of fact, a statement of judgment. I always think it's normal to judge people. A normative statement would have usually should or ought in it, not necessarily always. But if I said Dr. K is the tallest girl, no, that wouldn't even be it. Dr. K is the best econ teacher in the world. That would be considered a normative or a positive statement.
Positive.
It's going to be a normative statement because it's not a fact. And so, yeah, it's okay. But it's a positive statement like it sounds nice, right?
Yeah.
But in economics, a positive statement, this is the stuff you did when you were kids, fact and opinion. Yes, exactly.
Right.
And you can verify and check them. So you already know this stuff, guys. We're just putting it in a new framework. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions or concerns? Let me make sure that I have all of my, All right. Everybody sent me back this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Your CRNs.
The first test is chapter
I did,
1
yeah.
4.
First test is coming up. It's going to be chapters 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 1 through 4. Yeah.
1 through 4. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're going to end with price controls, price ceilings, and price floors. All right, guys. Everybody have a great weekend. And I'm going to post this up, and I'll send out an announcement if you want to go back and rewatch this.
Okay.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
You have a great day.
You as well. God bless.